and we're very happy to have Harry Hugo, co-founder, serial entrepreneur at Goat Agency. So Goat Agency, massive success story, global agency now, 120 staff, 4 international offices, running international campaigns for brands in the retail space like New Look, Barber, and also Lidl. So Harry, thanks so much for being on the show.
No worries. No, it's great to chat. Like, the retail space is really interesting for influencers. I'm really excited to just have a conversation. I don't know everything, so have a conversation, see what your thoughts are, what we believe here, and what we've seen as a success so far, and hopefully share some stories and some insights along the way.
Amazing, let's do it. So let's kick off with that. I mean, you've been in the space now 4 years, one of the sort of pioneers. Yeah. What's been the evolution you've seen through that time in terms of how influencers are approached, and what's changed since then?
I think it's really interesting if we go back 4 years. Influencer market at that point, very, very small. So the people doing it in a big way, the beauty brands, the fashion brands. We hadn't really seen the dawn of fast fashion yet, properly.
Okay.
Like, ASOS was there, but it wasn't delivering clothes today. Or it only maybe even just started delivering clothes tomorrow. It was still delivering them within 3 or 4 days, right? So fast fashion wasn't quite in the same place. Then it was also small budget stuff. So 5K deals were like big news. And then again, fast forwarding again 4 years, and the education level that's required now is borderline non-existent in comparison to what it was 4 years ago, in terms of brands and agencies that need to understand what this marketing channel is and how it fits into the general marketing mix.
Become more established than over that period.
Far more established, far more mature, and the budgets are huge, right, in comparison to the 5K. Now, they're not huge in comparison to the larger media budgets that go on across the world, but we have clients spending 4 or 5 million quid a year.
I want to dive in a little bit onto the influencer element and the development of that. So back in the day, you said beauty and fashion were the people that sort of jumped on this hype first. Who in retail now, who in retail right now would you say is absolutely crushing influencer marketing, whether they're one of your clients or not? Who do you think is the gold
I think that's the most legitimate and authentic answer I can give is people that aren't our clients. So people that I look at and go, oh, I wish they were our clients. I wish we'd have done that. And now that's whether or not they're doing it with another agency, or if they're doing it in-house or whatever. Boohoo are great. They've killed it. Pretty Little Thing, all the Kamani brands. So the Pretty Little Things, the I Saw It First, the Nasty Girl, Boohoo Man brands, like that as a group has gone from market trader to $2 billion in 10 years or something.
Yeah, they're doing all right, huh?
But really, 3,
4
4 years.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Since the dawn of Instagram influencers, they've just killed it, and they're probably the best example in the UK right now. And then the other one, Gymshark, who do all of it in house, and all their business is built on influencer marketing. Like, they were 100% influencer led. Ben Francis did a great job of identifying very early that the fitness, well-being, apparel market wasn't really being served.
Yeah.
And he got lucky, as all good entrepreneurs do. The fact that fitness, well-being, health and nutrition became the thing in the late 2000s, and the last 5 years, it's just like, you cannot get away from
nuts, yeah.
Can't get away from an avocado.
So this vision of an avocado chasing people
Yeah.
down the road,
literally what it is, right?
The old Tango advert with the belly.
Yeah. So fitness, health, nutrition is everything. So why not have a cool brand that's not Adidas and Nike that represents that community? And there was nothing. So Gymshark did a great job. They were e-commerce only. They were direct to consumer. It was cool. It was different. It was high quality, and they got it to you quick. So they just kitted up all the biggest fitness and wellness and now lifestyle influencers in the UK on Instagram, and they blew up. So those are the brands that are killing it the most. And like I said, the beauty and the fashion brands right at the start were killing it because I think they just stumbled upon it as a PR tool, because it was the new PR, and those companies had always been very, very good at PR.
Yeah.
So they just sent products to people in the same way as people used to send products to magazines and newspapers and things like that. Now they send them to influencers. Now it's developed a bit more since then. Influencers don't just post what they get sent anymore. They were the heydays.
I was gonna say, just on that heyday point, is that wave like gone? So I mean, because the two brands you mentioned there, Boohoo and the Kamani brands and Gymshark, they were on influencer marketing like before probably anyone knew it was called influencer marketing.
They just sent free product.
And there's obviously been this, as we can see from your success, there's been an explosion, like a tsunami of that becoming a kind of a budget line item on marketing people's agenda, and as you say, being a known concept. Has that wave gone? Like, is that level of growth that you can expect almost exclusively on the back of influencer? Is that still attainable, or are the heady heydays of that level of growth being achieved just through that as a main channel kind of gone?
As a main channel, absolutely, you can still achieve the growth. A new game is launched every single day, and most of it is marketed now through influencers, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. And let's take an example of Fortnite. Biggest game in the world, probably biggest game ever since Pokemon, maybe. Yeah. Way bigger than Pokemon Go was. Purely influencer led, as a launch, and more importantly as a continuation of the brand. Purely influencer led, and then the power of influencers showed that they can actually make another game bigger. EA launched the Apex Legends, I don't know, 3 months ago, and it gets more downloads than Fortnite does overnight, and it was only the biggest influencers in the world that were promoting that on the launch day. Yeah, it's still possible. Now, does it cost as little as it used to? No, the cost has matured, but it's matured to a level that other media is at. It's still cheaper than TV to get eyeballs on. It's still cheaper than paid media to get eyeballs on. Now, it's not as cheap as it used to be. It used to be ridiculously underpriced. You used to be able to pay someone like KSI £1,000 and he'd post whatever you wanted, and it would go to 5 million people. Now you got to pay him 50 grand. But 50 grand to 5 million people is the prime spot on Britain's Got Talent final. Like that is
the comparison.
That's the comparison. So I can tell you now, it's more than 50 grand for that slot. Or that sponsorship. That's really what it is. It's the sponsor of Britain's Got Talent, headline sponsor of Britain's Got Talent, which back ends both times it goes to the adverts. Like Just Eat is for, or the Uber Eats is for Love Island right now. You know, that's the level we're talking, and you know that costs a lot of money. So comparably, media from an influencer is a lot cheaper, and it's advocacy, not blasting. So it's someone saying it's great rather than just we're saying it's great. Third-party advocacy is incredibly powerful, and it continues to prove time and time again that it provides great value. But you can also fuck everything with it. You get it wrong as a brand or as an influencer, it's all over because it's so powerful. Yeah. Look at Fire Festival. I'm sure we're going to talk about that as well. Like, that was the best advert ever for influencer marketing. I wish I'd come up with that campaign. What a great idea! We're gonna prove that influencer marketing is so powerful. I'm gonna literally fly people to an island that doesn't have what I said it was gonna be, just because all these people said it was gonna be like that.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna do that. I'm gonna make them pay everything up front. Brilliant. It's brilliant. But it proves that getting it wrong is also hugely negative. And I talked about it on a podcast or in the paper recently. It's like when you have so much power, it sounds cliche, but you have a shitload of responsibility, and that is now more prevalent than ever before. And the brand safety, the fraud, the followers, the bad messages, your PewDiePie problems, your Logan Paul issues, like all of these things, obviously they're now huge news because these things are far more prevalent in our society than ever before. You scroll down the Daily Mail sidebar in its unlimited format, you know, lots of those news stories are now influencer-led news stories, be it Love Island stars or other reality TV stars or Logan Paul or ASI goes to a nightclub, like Zoella goes for a walk down the beach. Like, are you mad? This girl's she just built videos in her bedroom, but paparazzi snap her as soon as she leaves her house. People who don't believe influencer marketing is a performance channel or can be used as a performance channel, again, comes back to that macro micro thing. They probably can't do it. They probably can't do the performance bit because it's really hard. Performance marketing is really hard, but if you can do it, you're gonna make a lot of money because it's what brands really want. Brands really want sales. They really want conversions. They really want it to happen at the bottom, and it's really easy to sell stuff from the top. Really easy to sell impressions, video views, engagement. Like, it's really easy because it's pretty cheap to buy them. But it takes a lot more skill, a lot more knowledge, a lot more nuance, a lot more variables to understand in order to actually understand what's going to sell. And if we look at our campaign with New Look, it had so many different tiers to that. And that was our first £1 million campaign. That was about 14 months into the business. And that was about getting 50 influencers at that kind of classic micro level, 15 to 100,000 followers, to talk about the product and be gifted the product every single month and be paid to talk about it across Instagram and Instagram stories. 50 in France, 50 in Germany, and 50 in the UK. And I was super successful for selling clothes. We realised very quickly, having not done anything in the fashion space before, that some influencers 1 week would be given a pair of jeans and they'd sell like, they'd be paid like 50 quid and they'd sell like £30,000 worth of jeans. And we're like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Next week, we give them a polka dot dress and they sold nothing. And we're like, what? This person just sold 30 grand. They literally sold you out of those jeans individually, but they can't shift anything. And then we realised, fuck, it's far more nuanced than this. It's far more about what they care about and what they've already told their audience they like, and it can't be done in an automated way. It has to be done by a human. It has to be understanding at the empathy level, the human level, where you can actually have the cognition to understand that this person likes that, this person like that, this person does this person treats their kids like this, because we do a lot in parenting and a lot in mummy and daddy vloggers. And we're the first digital marketing technique ever to negotiate human to human. Normally there's a computer in the middle bidding.
Yeah, of course.
We don't do that. It's negotiations, and if you think that you can automate human to human negotiations, then you're wrong. There's so much empathy. And if I tell a brand that a parent blogger is going to post at 8 p.m. about their brand, maybe it's Johnson & Johnson baby wipes or whatever, then I'll tell them we're going to post at 8 p.m, but I can't guarantee it with parents because their kid could get ill. Facebook ads doesn't have that issue.
Yeah.
I do, because I'm dealing with humans. So thinking that we can automate that, because 2 minutes before they go, I'm so sorry, this has happened, I can't do anything about that. Yeah. So the ROI is high, for sure, but there's obviously a lot of problems that come with it and a lot of management. That's why you need, and I'm not saying just like us, but people who have done this before, who understand the space, in order to really do this properly, because it's really difficult. There's so many variables you don't think about that make a huge difference to the performance of campaigns, and it's a guessing game as to what those are and who those people are. And if you get it right, you will kill it. If you get it wrong, you'll kill yourself. And the worst thing about killing yourself on those decisions is that if you don't revisit influencer marketing now, then you're wasting a huge opportunity, because it's only going to get more and more expensive. And that's a disaster. That's a huge opportunity wasted.
I'll take away, I think the things people listening should really take away, to try and give me a challenge here, man. Try and distill these monologues of value.
Bollocks.
Monologues of value down in some actual sort of nuggets that people can, I think, really zone in on. And I think one of the things that is, obviously, if you're using influencer marketing, it's got to be congruent, right? The influencer that you're giving product to, if they're a big to use your New Look example, fan of jeans and they're never in dresses and they dress like a tomboy, don't send them a polka dot dress to then advertise. It's got to feel like it makes sense.
It's like the ultimate example of the horrible word authenticity, but it's the and it is a horrible word. It's so overused now when talking about influencer marketing, but that's kind of the best example I've got firsthand, where it literally is. Oh my god, that it makes such a huge difference.
Yeah.
In terms of what sales you can drive.
Yeah.
And that's obviously the key thing for most of these brands, especially in retail.
And I think the other really interesting nugget there was that, I think a lot of people listening probably feel like influencer marketing is for kind of ATL awareness level type stuff, views, likes, etc. And really what you're talking about here is there are ways, if you know where to look and you know what you're doing, to actually drive a demonstrable bottom of the funnel conversion flavor of return. So bear that in mind, and I guess that all nicely caps off that particular section to say, kill or be killed, man. So if you're not in, come in, and if you've been in and you got out because you got burned, it's something you need to
test stuff. Like come back in, but come back in small. I understand.
Put a toe in. Get a toe back in the water, basically, because otherwise you're going to be.
Yeah.
You're going to miss the boat.
You can still buy stuff for tens of pounds.
Yeah.
So it will obviously take you time to weed that out and find those people. You can still find value by paying people 50 quid. So just take your time and find those people if you want to put your toe back in. But you can also spend thousands of pounds and it be incredibly successful, but you can spend thousands of pounds and get it incredibly wrong.
Yeah.
But if you're not convinced that it's the right way to go, or you've been burnt in the past, just come back slowly, work out that actually if you get it right, of course it works, and then scale, because the opportunity won't last forever. It really, really won't.
No, definitely. Okay, cool, man. And then last three things that we're getting into now, which we can hopefully fire through. I think that you'll have pretty much an answer for all of these, which is good. So
I hope so. I was really boring into the show.
Don't know, Pat.
No comment.
Yeah. Next question. What are the things that people can do to completely destroy their efforts with influencer marketing?
As in, like, do well?
No. As in, like, what are the things that you see, that time and time again is just like the antidote to success? Like, what's the opposite thing that you should be doing to make something really successful in influencer marketing?
Not negotiating.
Just taking the first price that people throw you.
Like, this is human. Like, taking things, like, this is sales, right?
And I guess there's no thing that says this is the actual value.
No, there's not.
A post on Instagram.
No. And like, if we could take it right back to that Facebook biddable thing, like there isn't a value that something's bidding against. So it's all, again, it's about timing. It's about, okay, well, this, people are far more likely to do a deal at the end of the month than they are at the start. Like, all these things, it's sales. Taking something away from them, going, oh, okay, we're willing to give you 250 quid. They go, no, my rate's normally 350, and you go, fine, no worries. And then you come back a week later and go, hey, like, it's sales. So like, negotiation is the key.
Yeah.
And it's also what's going to drive you the best value, right? Because if you're paying 250, not 350, then
you've got more headroom.
You can spend another £100 on someone else. So that's number one. And then forcing everything upon them rather than working collaboratively. There was a big push about a year, 2 years ago, where it was like, give the creator everything, like, let them do what they. No, don't do that. They'll do something that's nothing to do with
blank check.
Yeah,
like, go mad.
Don't do that. Like, the massive push was let them create what they want. They know what their audience wants. Yes, but they won't do anything that's good for your brand if you just let them do what they want. Like, that's not their MO. So work collaboratively. Don't let them do everything. Don't push stuff on them, i.e. give them polka dot dresses when they're jeans fans. Idiots. But work collaboratively and talk. Like, again, you're not bidding against a computer. You're not blind here. Have a conversation. Pick up the phone. These people are human beings. Work out what they like. Work out what they want to do. Like, have a conversation. Work out what's going to be best for both of you. Hash out a deal. This is a sales business.
Amazing. So negotiate. don't take the first price if you're listening. There's at least probably £100 in it. Maybe more. Who knows?
I think there's 33% in every deal.
Okay, there you go. So go and get your third, guys. If you're listening, there is a third on the table, according to Harry here. So go and get your 33%. And the other thing is,
don't bill me back for that 33%
if you don't get the 33%, speak to Harry. Come and call him up at some point.
But a one-time only offer, the Go Agency will give you 40% today.
And then the other thing is, which I think is a really nice point there, is actually like you don't. I think I'm a big believer myself as well. Is there's no point hiring someone if you're going to tell them how to do what they're supposed to be know how to do.
Yeah.
And it's the same with influencers. You don't want to give them the specifics down to the nuts and the bolts, but equally you don't want them to have complete free reign and go completely mental. Work together as a team. Awesome. A couple of top secrets and tips, Harry. What are some of the unknowns that people should think about more? We've got a couple of things that can do really badly there, but they're also, I guess, sort of top secrets and tips. But
TikTok. Use TikTok.
TikTok, yeah, that's big. That's big up and coming, right?
Yeah, TikTok's great. It's very creative. People who are using it are hyper engaged. It's so new, and when I'm talking about those people who you can still find value at 50, 60, 70 quid, like TikTok's a place to look right now.
It's greenfield.
Yeah, like no one's on it.
Do you think it has the legs to dismantle or displace?
500 million daily active users. Wow. It's got more daily active users than Instagram. Of course it's going to do okay. Like, no other platform has ever got to like 50 million and not succeeded. Yeah. Vine got to like 40 and then died.
Yeah. It wasn't a complete flop, Vine.
No, it wasn't. Twitter was its backer when Twitter was at its weakest. Yeah. Not ideal. Yeah. But TikTok's got 500 million users. It's backed by the Chinese. It's already been bought. Like, obviously it's going to do well. Yeah. It's a no-brainer. Invest in TikTok right now. And Facebook groups, for taking it outside of influencer marketing, but still looking at the circle of influence. People, how can you get to audience online? Facebook groups. Facebook are promoting it so heavily right now. It's like the first thing you look at when you go into the Facebook app. And it's algorithmless, if that's a word. So you can get to everyone in the group. So if you can get a group together which has 2,000 people in it, you can get to every single one of those people every time you post. That is a no-brainer. Yeah. Especially for selling products. And you can also put offers in groups, which is great.
I think one of the things actually, so there are two things there. TikTok, if you don't know, get to know. There's some greenfield space there. And we talked earlier about, is there always a critical mass point? And it feels like, from what you're saying, TikTok.
It's not for everybody though, TikTok. No. It has got a young demographic. There's no hiding from that. But if you're an e-commerce brand and you're selling clothes, then no-brainer. Yeah.
And then the other thing, Facebook groups. So, and I think one of the points here, just to use that as a jumping off point for something you mentioned earlier, which I want to make sure people, remember, is if you're listening and you can be the place that people go to talk about said topic or idea. So if you become the burger, whatever it was, or if you become the group, if you become the center of gravity for people to congregate and talk about that product or service, then obviously you're going to have massive leverage. And if you're doing that in, say, Facebook groups, even better right now, because it is, quote, algorithmless.
So it's going to be the podcast title.
Algorithmless.
Good luck spelling it.
Right, Harry, you've been amazing. Give me one parting thought, one thing that everyone listening can take away and put into practice today when it comes to their influencer marketing strategy. It can be a tactic, a strategy, or an idea.
Hire the Go Agency immediately. No. What can they do? They can. I mean, the best place to do it right now is Instagram Stories in terms of quick ROI, because you can measure Instagram Stories through not only the impressions and the viewership and the engagement, but also through click-through. So if you're going to look for quick wins, something that's slightly less priced than Instagram posts, but has far more effect, and you're trying to drive traffic to a retail or e-commerce store, then I'd go Instagram Stories. I think that's the way that you can. If I was given a budget of £1,000, I'd spend all of that £1,000 on Instagram Stories right now if I had a clothes brand. So that would be what my takeaway would be. If you're looking to scale that, then obviously move it into other platforms and scale up, scale down, look at the audiences and these different things, retarget. Like, obviously those are all the really big ways to scale this out as a practice. But if I was given £1,000 to start pushing a product, Instagram Stories across multiple channels, like, don't just choose one influencer with that £1,000. Choose 5 test and learn and get every single one of those to have a different call to action, different imagery, different video, use pages, use personalities, but every single one with a different UTM tag for their swipe up, and then see what happens. But make sure your website's good for mobile, because Instagram Stories opens up a web browser that isn't Safari. So you need to think about that as well.
Okay, cool. So get involved in Instagram Stories if that's somewhere you're looking to start. Nice and trackable, easy to do. Make sure you spread that bet though. And the last thing, actually, I'm going to give you one of your own strategy ideas back.
Thanks, mate.
Which is the whole 3 to 3K thing. I know it sort of is coming down the grapevine here, but you had it on the show, so we'll give that one to you. You know, whatever you're doing isn't just necessarily for the person you're doing it for. There's a much bigger potential to influence people around that circle if you put in the legwork, if you give a shit, as we talked about before.
Yeah.
Cool. Harry, you've been amazing. Thanks so much.
Thank you, mate.
Appreciate it.
Really
Thank
good.
you. Cheers, guys.